I'm asking all the remaining colleges also. So are you able to follow? We finished almost 50% of the syllabus. And if you have any queries, you feel free to mail us. Okay. Start our session. We will be starting with the topic of classification. Okay. Now, what is this classification and why we have to study this topic? What is this topic? Because unless you know what is what, like you cannot really understand or relish the topic. Because if you want to really understand something about some topic, you should know why that topic is there, what is its importance, what are its applications. So here, the main content of our data mining is, we know that down the line we need some idea about knowledge discovery. That means you have some specific subject. On that specific subject, you want to have certain patterns recognized, right? That is your idea about this. So in this context, what to do? How do you go about working? Initially, you just develop the warehouse, wherein you pulled out the task relevant data from different resources, right? So once that data is available, next thing needed is the analysis over the data. Then how do you go for the analysis over the data? That is it. And we discussed one thing, that is a cube building, and we just answered certain queries in our sales application, right? That's what we did before. So data cube building always is not a solution for your knowledge. It is one of the things. Okay, you will have multiple methods for various applications. Okay, because one specific method is suitable for one application. Down the line, the outcome is that you should know what knowledge you have to discover, for which what method you have to use. So now, having loaded your warehouse, okay, or having prepared your flat file with the data pre-processing, and data pre-processing is mandatory, right? So whatever file you get, it will be a flat file or from your database tables to be loaded. So at any point of time, the data pre-processing you are doing. So the data pre-processing is done and the file is ready for you to use. That is the stage where you are. When such stage is there, next step is to analyze that data. So how do you analyze the data? That is the task now. So to analyze the data, depending on the kind of analysis you want, you have the techniques called classification, clustering, association rule mining. These are three different techniques that are used. Now you may ask, why you need classification, why you need clustering, why you need association. I told you, depending on specific requirement you have it. Now, then what is this classification? And what kind of things you need? Okay. Let us say the university is there. Okay. The university really wants to elevate its academic standard, because yesterday the Honorable Education Minister mentioned that our universities are nowhere figured in the world ranking. At least in the country level ranking, we are not figuring out. What is the reason? He asked. You answer the reason, because you are the academicians, because I am only an administrator, I don't know. You have to tell me, you have to guide me to elevate this standard. So that is the question posed by the minister. So the government really wants to enhance the quality of education. Then what to do? Right? That is the question. Now, from this angle, how we will go about it? So, the issue here is, right, now what is the data available here at the university level? Your examination marks, your internal marks, external marks, and what are the training sessions you have attended, right? What papers you have published, what kind of symposia you organized, your social activities, your NSS activities, or what are all the things you will notice, your leadership qualities, everything. You will make a note of all. Okay. Now, once you make a note of all such things, that is there in your operational data. Because in the operational data, what is that you are doing? You are knowing, yes, what are my marks, what is my attendance, okay, which are the subjects that can be offered in next semester, what are the lectures. Some day-to-day running operations are being performed. Now, how do you use the same data for analysis? What is your objective down the line? To elevate the status of the university by improving the academics. So now, when do you say, or rather, how do you measure the status of a university? What are the parameters you use to measure the quality of a university? Tell me. For students. Of course, students or staff, whatever it is. No, tell me, you are right. You are right. Placement, infrastructure. Okay. See, the quality of any university is assessed based on the quality of the faculty and quality of students. Then for assessing any quality, what are the yardsticks? The number of publications approximately, number of research papers he published, number of patents he published, now the consistency he does, and from student side the placement they got. It is just not getting a placement. What kind of quality placement you have got, okay, and what kind of areas you got the placement. All these things are the measures. Do you agree? Now, then, okay, if you have all that data, how do you say that I will elevate the standards of the university? Okay, The data is there. How is it used for me? To elevate the standards. That is the question. Can you guess? Can you guess? How can you elevate the standard? Suppose this data I have given. For every student, the publication is that everything is there. Okay. So it's available across various tables. So the task relevant data is pulled into the warehouse. That is the number of publications, what kind of publications you have, where you got your placement, with which companies you did internship, and in which areas you have done your internship, what is your area specialization, what is the package you have got, what is the nature of work you are going to do in your exam. All these parameters I have given you, no doubt. When all these parameters are given, how do you work out? No, I'm not saying comparison with other universities. My idea is, I want to elevate the status of my students. I want to improvise the standards of my students. Okay, so you said certain points. Okay, so they are not available in a single table. They are in the operational table. So using your warehousing techniques and all, ETL process, you loaded them with the data pre-processing and all, etc. Now it is loaded and ready in the warehouse, your task relevant data. Then how do you go about it? Here, can you do any roll-up, drill down kind of thing? Any summaries will it be possible for you, like in previous case? Huh? Will it be possible? Can you make a data cube with that? You cannot do that. But our aim is to analyze and predict certain things, how to improve the students. So with this, suppose you forget about any of the data mining techniques. This data is given to you simply. Every student's information, every faculty information, infrastructure, risk, or something. Okay. Then in such case, what will you do with it? How do you proceed? Forget about computerization. Just tell me the procedure. This is there. At least you guess when this kind of data is given to you. My aim is to elevate the standards of the university. Okay. So I have to elevate the standards of the university means I have to improve the quality in every aspect, right? So how do I do that? Just guess. Even if it is wrong, there's nothing wrong, because you will be trained to think. That's what I meant. No. The feedback, whatever it is, that is the data. Because your teacher may say you are good, or your marks will say that this is the thing, or your placement will say that what you are. So here feedback question is not there. You got the information already. You have the information. That so and so X1, X2, X3, X4 or S1, S2, S3. These are all students, their roll number, their marks, their papers, their trainings, internships, etc., etc. Blah, blah. Everything is there. So from this, given this data set, how do you analyze it and suggest the methods for improvement? That is the question. Last time, what is the question? I want to improvise the sale. My sales amount has come down by 20%. So what should I do? So we said this is the task relevant data. Across 3 dimensions, we collected the data and we rolled up, because that being a numerical measure and all. We have built a cube and from there we have analyzed. That's one thing. That's over. Now here in this case, yes, same task relevant data is spread across all the tables. We obtained that, we loaded that, and your task relevant data or whatever data that is possible for the kind of analysis is at your fingertips. Okay. Then how do you go about analyzing it? అంటే నేను ఈ డేటా అంతా ఇచ్చా, ఈ కుర్రాళ్ళకి ఇన్ని మార్కులు వచ్చాయి, ఇలా వచ్చాయి, ఉద్యోగం వచ్చింది, అతను ఇలాంటి ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేశాడు, ఈ కంపెనీలో చేశాడు, ఇలాంటి పేపర్ పబ్లిష్ చేశాడు, ఇలాంటి సింపోజియం ఆర్గనైజ్ చేశాడు, ఇతనికి ఇంత లీడర్షిప్ క్వాలిటీస్ ఉన్నాయి, జైగేట్ మొత్తం ఇతనే సింగిల్ హ్యాండెడ్గా చేసాడు అని చెప్పి వీ టెల్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ అబౌట్ ద పీపుల్. అయితే ఇది ఈ డేటా అంతా ఉంది. దీన్ని తీసుకుని I want to elevate the quality of the students overall. The students quality పెంచితేనే కాలేజ్ క్వాలిటీ పెరుగుతుంది, అంతే కదా. Right, you are coming to the point. మీకు ఏమైనా ఐడియా వచ్చిందా? వాళ్ళు కొంచెం దగ్గరసా వస్తున్నారు. యూ గాట్ ఎనీ ఐడియా? Here you don't have any summary value. Summary is not the thing, because you cannot sum up anything. Frequency count of what? ఇప్పుడు కొంచెం దగ్గరసా వస్తుంది. Frequency count of what? You are coming here. Yes, I tell you the way of it is okay. Now what you do is you segregate the students into different categories. Okay, the data there, you segregate the students into some 4-5 groups, 4-5 like-minded groups, or 4-5 similar groups. That means the people who secured between 90 and 95%. Suppose 95 is right. 90 and 95% is one thing. The people who secured between 90 and 84 or 85 is another group. Just for your understanding, I am saying only percentage, but percentage alone is not at all the crime. Percentage is one of the very simple factors. Your publications, so you have to grade it based on your percentage, the kind of internship you had, the industry in which you got placement, the quality of project you did, the quality of publications, because today if you publish in some journal or something, you have all Scopus indexed, science citation index, like indices are there for different things, right? Every journal is graded. So depending on the grade, you have certain points, some weightage. So suppose if somebody says, I have 20 publications, but if they are junk, it is of no use, they don't consider. Actually, at the early days of our service, one person did his Jntuk from IIT Kharagpur and joined, and After 1 year, he left for US. So another person who locally did Mtech in this college was there. He just did some very simple project. He just developed some language tutor. So that is the language manual. He says, do you want to learn first lesson? Yes or no? If you say yes, that goes to the first lesson. Then second lesson, next one. So that is with the kind of if statement, the project is planned, and if you say yes, because in 88 or so 89, that itself is a project in university because nobody is aware of them. But the other fellow who did his masters did a project. He designed one editor in Siemens. Then this fellow was asking, how many lines when? Then he said, yes, my package is around 2. Then the other fellow said, you know, my package is 2,500. Then he said, if you fill up with all junk, I can make 10,000 lines. So don't compare like that, he said. So in such a way, it's not just the number of papers you publish, it depends on the quality of papers you publish. That matters a lot. Okay. Similarly, if you get a job, means English division or R&D, development, testing, maintenance, different areas based on that, and based on the quality of project. That means in your project, what kind of techniques you have used, what is the complexity of the algorithm you have used for doing your project. All these things, if you parameterize very carefully, you will have multiple parameters. So based on all these parameters, you group like-minded people. Similarly. Okay? So once that group is there, that kind of grouping is done, then you can make analysis on each and every. How that grouping will be done, we will see. But let us think that we have grouped the people like that. So very top cream people, so in a group who are all there, very top cream people got some corporate company product development job, and who did their internship in a very top company. The company gradings will be there. It's not only the grading of the company, that is one parameter, but the quality of the project also. Whether it is development project, testing project, what kind of project you did. Because this will be like the discussion, I guess. So he compared some project done locally with IIT. So one should not say that if I have 3,000 lines of code managed today. Because if you see some of the parallel algorithms, there will be only 5 to 6 lines code only. But you have to break your head to understand. There is one professor called Pavitra Mitra in IIT Kharagpur. He is an young scientist about it. Okay. And he wrote a book on pattern recognition. And that book was prescribed in California, Berkeley. He is an young scientist about it. He is an youngster from Kharagpur. And Professor S.K. Paul, he was the director of ISI, Indian Statistics Institute. He was a student, and both of them wrote a textbook. And there is a prescribed book in California. It's a very small, it's like that notebook. It is just a bit thicker than that, and some sizes of that notebook. It's not even your full-size textbook. Only the algorithms will be just few 10 to 15 minutes. Then somebody was looking at and saying that, oh, it's a small book and the pages are less, so we'll prescribe this book for us, you are saying it is prescribed in Berkeley. Then another professor from other state who had some foreign university exporters said, okay, this book is small and all. At least let the professors, senior professors understand at least what is there in the book. Then they can think of prescribing. Then the other person did not try this. So it really doesn't matter on the size of the book, but what is the quality of that. If you look at certain parallel algorithms and if you want to analyze them, really it's very, very tough. The Peter Norton operating system algorithms for multiprocessing and multitasking, you have to spend a lot of time to understand the concept of that concurrency and critical section problem. So these are all different parameters. So now you think that you have group. Now once this group is there, yes, okay, you have grouped them. How group it to be done, I'll tell you. So once you group this, now how do you give the analysis on this? Okay, how do you elevate the standards? Okay, I have grouped the as per your say. Then what next, right? Okay, after grouping, what next? You try to answer me. Because I want to give you a very clear insight into why classification. Then you can understand these steps. Otherwise, if I start, this is decision tree, this is entropy, this is how we divide, this is classification problem, we end up with nothing. Then how do you? What is that you are going to? Just think over a couple of minutes. See, my dear friends from the colleges, you also can answer. It's not restricted to only Jntuk students. You can just send message if you have something to say. Very good. Very good. What you can do is, yes, what is this group? What is the top brass group here? Okay, this fellow has done this kind of project. He did a project in Google. The other fellow did in Facebook. Okay. He did a very complex algorithm, right? So in this group, all the people are like. In another group, the person did only project in some small company located in Kakinada or Hyderabad. With a small company. It's not a very complex algorithm. Some existing one he modified and did. So you will know the difference. Now from this, what is that you have done? Next step is, okay, this fellow could solve a complex algorithm, whereas this fellow, other fellow could not do. So what is the difference between these? Now the kind of analysis is, okay, all this group of people, in order to solve this criteria, what did they do? So they explored the internet on their own. They had a thought process. Initially, they browsed the net. What are the state of art problems they had from forums, discussion forums, and from those forums they got the idea. Then on their own, they explored the net and got some methodology. They went to MIT sites, Stanford, and all these places. somehow they struggled a lot, got the information. On their own they struggled and could solve. So, whereas if you look at the other group of people, they don't have that much initiative. But with that knowledge, whatever is possible that is available to them, they do. Now, I have to increase the standard me. What should I do? I should expose the remaining people also to this kind of environment. So, I have to make a targeted preparation. I have to make a targeted preparation. Then I have to take this specific group who are at A grade. The A plus grade is that, who are at A grade. Because I can't bring the C grade person and immediately put him in A plus, right? That's not possible over. Actually, they are not well. So you can't put them straight away in A plus, right? Do you agree with me? Because any transformation that has to take place step by step, and they should digest, sustain, and the sustenance. Suppose you go for a weight loss. Okay, you regularly do exercise and you regularly do diet control. In 10 days you come down by 10 kgs, no doubt about it. But what happens? Once you stop dieting, you will gain 20 kgs, right? So, but if you keep on reducing 1 kg every month, that is a sustainable, healthy, okay? In a similar way, you can't grow. Of course, there are some people, once their brain ignites, they will work like anything, and I have seen such people also, who are very dull at some point of time and suddenly rose in their career. Actually, in IIT Kharagpur, one total building for management, the entire department was totally sponsored by a single alumni of IIT Kharagpur, who was a very successful businessman in US. He sponsored entire department long, and he was a second class student in US. So you never know. So you never know when somebody will have a kind of solution and will rise. The basic quality is not that you are not born talented or born genius. You should have a gene. That fire should be there. Once you have that fire in determination, anybody can achieve. So you dig that kind of quality. Sky is the limit. So, in such case, you will get this group and you will say, right, you have done up to this extent, that is good. Now if you want to elevate your quality, means see, your friend has browsed in this. So what he did is, he explored in this field. Why don't you try exploring in this? You will call these students, okay, please advise them initially, guide them, because they require some initial hand-holding to go about it. And go ahead. Then you say yes. These people support that. Or sometimes they give it. Then these people also get it. As and when they get doubt, they will ask. Because some people require igniting them to some extent. So slowly that becomes a habit. Okay. Even in the early days, you are just referring to the textbook and teaching. Then later when I started teaching programming, I experimented each and every program on the machine and I was teaching. Later I modified my teaching. It's just not merely even talking about execution, but how I made a mistake, how I corrected them, how my thought process went initially, and how I made a mistake and how I corrected. So for what kind of mistake, what kind of error message will come. Like that I started teaching. So we get refined slowly, right? So in such a way, even the people get refined. So the A grade people will tend to be A plus grade. Similarly, A minus people can tend to A grade. So like this, you have to analyze each and every group, and based on the outcomes, you will give a test. Okay. So this is called the descriptive data. So you are not making any change to the data, please remember. You are just segregating only the existing data, making a group study of parameters and suggesting some solution. Okay. So for this, what is required is, about association rule mining, I will tell you later. So for this type of problem I am talking. So a grading or segregation of the data is required here. That is what. Got my point? You have to segregate the data. So given data is to be segregated or grouped. So how do you do this grouping? How do you do this grouping? These groupings are of two types. One is classification, another is cluster. Then what is the difference between a classification and a clustering? Okay. Classification means you know the labels of the class. Then you say that it is classification. Sometimes you do not know the label of the class. You just group like-minded things. Then after knowing the behavior of the group, then you say that after knowing the behavior of the group, then you can label them. Okay. Then knowing the class label, how do you group? Without knowing the class label, how do you group? Then knowing the class label, you have to group means you have to consider the parameters that are influencing this subject. Based on these parameters, you will have distance measure. Okay? That means, let us say, you have undertaken an exam in maths, physics and chemistry subject. M, P. You don't know any of the labels, okay? Just the marks are here. Maths 99, physics 100, 99, 90. Okay? Like this, the marks are there for the people for 100 in the examination. And 80. So, okay, these are the marks, let us say. Now, I have not given any class tables, I didn't say anything. Then, how do you go about segregating? I said you segregate them, these are the marks. So, how do you segregate? Huh? No. So, the segregation means what? All like-minded or all similar items should come in one group, and elements of different groups should be distinct. right? Uh, that's not the thing here. But of course, I appreciate you have just made some attempts for it. Here it is. What is meant by the distance now? Because you just give math, physics, chemistry marks, only you have given marks, and what nonsense you taught the distance? What is meant by this distance? That means here distance in the sense, one more thing is, here it is 99, but physics 98, chemistry 90. If you look at, he has got 100, he has 96. He has got 80 in maths, he got 86. So how do you say that the similarity? Then what you are supposed to do is, there are 3 parameters influencing your total impact, right? It's not a single parameter. You have 3 parameters here. That means this is a 3-dimensional vector. So each row is a 3-dimensional vector. Now what is meant by the distance? You consider the Euclidean distance between 2 points. So each is a multi-dimensional point in a space. Okay. So if you consider each as a multi-dimensional point in the space, so this is a point in the 3D space. So if you have this point in the your is the point maximum. So 98 will be 100. I will be somewhere here at the point in this 3D. Okay. Somewhere the point will be. So if you consider 2D or 3D, what is the distance, Euclidean distance you remember, right? So what is the Euclidean distance between these 2 points? It is square root of 99 minus 100 square plus 98 minus 97 square plus 98 minus 96 square, right? So this is 1 plus 1 plus 4. This is root 6. So that is the distance between these 2 points. Okay. So this is 2 point something, root 60. So if you look at here, the distance is 1 point. Here it is 1 point. In this, here it is 2 points. Okay. So this is how you define the distance. So that means all the 3 factors have their own influence over the point. So this is the distance between these 2. And if you consider the distance between this and this is large. 99 minus 80 square, 98 minus 81 square, plus this square for sum and square, right? So now, considering this distance, you will segregate, you will fix up specific radius first, and all the things that are falling within this radius are one group. You can segregate. So here, do you know any label for the class here? You have segregated, no doubt about it. Then probably what happens is, these 3 points will come in one cluster, these 2 come in another cluster, right? Still you do not know the labels of it. Please remember, you don't know the class labels of it. Only based on distance, you say these 3 points are similar, look alike, and these 2 points are similar, look alike. That's all you do. Remaining aspect you do not. right? Then after studying this group behavior and all, you may say that that is A plus, this is A. Okay? Then that means without knowing the labels, just based on the distance measure, you grouped the things, and after studying the behavior of the group, you said that is A plus and this is A. Or A minus, whatever it is. Okay? You have given a grade, right? Then, so that A plus and A, they are the class labels for you. Listen. Okay? So, how did you give that? After getting the group, you analyze and did. This is cluster. Got my point? This is cluster. Then what is classification? Because that is the one which you are going to study. Your classification is that I said I know the class labels. I know the class labels. I know the class labels of the data, and I have to segregate the things according to the class. That means the banking example. Best example is banking. That means the bank has issued loans in 2014. So by now they know very well that who is a defaulter and who is a good payer. Okay, 2 years is enough to know. And now 2016 they again offered loans for the people. So the applications have come. Okay. Now about the applications, you keep that aside. Initially you have given loans. Okay. So you know pretty well that from their behavior and repayment things and all, you can classify them as defaulters or non-defaulter, right? Can you say that? So there are two class labels, yes or no, or good credit or bad credit, good or bad, yes or no. So what kind of credit you have? Okay, based on. So here the problem is you know the class level. You have the data, you know the class level, but you have to classify, group them to one of these classes. Got my point? This is called classification because the behavior of the problem is as such, you know the label beforehand. What all you have to do is, you have to just do the grouping according to some measures or based on some method. So you got the point now? What is the difference between classification and clustering? Okay. So that means in the bank your information is given. Okay. So you have the information, it has got good credit or bad. So that is the kind of thing. Now how do you classify there? Okay. Here of course clustering means you took the distance measures and but there how do you classify? There also have attributes to measure. Here also have attributes. Then how do you classify? For classification there are a lot of techniques. Of course beyond our syllabus. Actually one problem with the syllabus is the Bayesian classification is not included in your syllabus, but is a very popular methodology. Somehow by mistake in the previous thing, when they are editing, that topic is lost. But I advise all of you, it's not a very tough thing, to study Bayesian classification. Or if at all any time permits, I will take it once in the class. It's a very, very important aspect because that's a very good model that is used even now. It is a very, very important. Somehow that is missing in the curriculum. Because people say I studied data mining but I didn't study Bayesian classification as the what without Bayesian class. How did you study the data? So, in your curriculum, what we are studying is a decision tree. So, he is dreaming about the friend. Sometimes if a meeting is boring, I have to. So that means I have to correct myself. Probably I am delivering something that is boring. So sorry for this. So now, for this classification, what is this decision? And for classification, how do you go about it? Now for classification, I said, you have class labels, right? And another thing is, you should have a set of rules to classify. Then you can easily classify. That means, suppose I have the parameter, right? Is the owner of the house? What is his earning capacity? What are the loans he is making? His earning is more than 1 per month. What is his habit? Kind of thing if you make a study. And then you will have all this information. Then to classify means you should have simply a setup. Like a house owner or a own house person with more than 80,000 income and with less commitment will repay the loan. Okay. Even a high income person with lot of debts and expenditure level more than income and an unmarried person, okay, he will default, though his income is 1 lakh. Because I have seen many software people, then their income level will be very high and they maintain a very posh car and all, you feel very good. Yes, his earnings are very good, but he spent 1,50,000. His monthly salary is 1 lakh and he spent 1,50,000. So automatically he becomes rich. And some people with some over ambition, they invest in business. And unfortunately something happens and people take calculated risk very fairly. Minimum risk is money. And calculated risk will flourish. People with calculated risk will flourish. People with high risk, they either go to the top or fall. It all depends. Luck is also important. All your caliber. So, now coming to this point. So, you will have a set of rules. So, if something is good, some other thing is bad, some other thing is something, then he is having good credit. Like for good credit, you will frame 3-4 rules. For bad credit, you frame 3-4. Now, if you have any record, you can check those values with these decisions, right? With these decisions. Then you can say that is a good credit record or bad credit. So once these rules are there, instead of having rules framed in 3-4 sentences, give them a treat sheet. So you have a record unknown, the label is not known, with all income level and etc. etc. Now you will check what is this income. Yes, 90,000. Okay, this income 90,000, where this is taken. Or you will not go from this, you will go from the decision tree. First thing is, yes, income level only, fine. Age less than 80,000, 80,000, above 90,000, some three groups are there, fine. So which group it comes to? Yes, this 90,000. So the second group you go there. Then another condition will be there. That condition is there. So finally, whatever the condition matches, you say that. But of course, I don't talk in air. I'll show you the examples and I'll go ahead. So classification is, given a collection of records, training set, each record contains a set of attributes. One of the attributes is class. Okay, now I told you what is this training set, what is the testing set, that part also I have. Because as you mentioned, you initially mentioned that part. Here what happens is, for your example is that in 2014 you have issued loans for all the people. Some 50,000 people you have issued them. Okay. Now what happens is, this data you have to use. Using this data, you have to arrive at the logical decisions I told you. Because before I told you that logical decision is something is good, another thing is bad, something is average, and some value is greater than 10,000. It is a good credit, like the decision is there. So you have to arrive at those rules. In order to arrive at those rules, you have to use this data. Okay, how do you arrive at, we will see. But you have to use this data. So now, once you arrive at the rules, suppose a simple example is, I asked you to develop some program. So you have done coding. So once you feel that your coding is over, will you just deliver it? You have to test it, right? You have to do unit testing, functional testing, integration testing, user acceptance test, etc. Now you have a lot of testing to do. And you will do all those testing things. And then finally, you will say yes, this is deliver this. So if you simply narrate your rules and just if you derive the rules from the data, that is not sufficient. You have to prove it out. In testing, how you will test the things, any program? You create your own inputs initially. You test with them all conditions. But finally, before acceptance, what is that we will do? Suppose we have developed a software for results process. So finally, if it is to be deployed, what is that we will do? We have already last year results available with you. So you think that last year results are not processed. Using your software, you will process the results. And if the results are the same and accurate, then you will accept it. Of course, you will do unit testing, integration of modules testing, everything you will do. Okay? But finally, you will accept when you test it with your previous data. Okay? Then you will accept it and you will deliver the software. Do you agree? Right? Do you agree with me? In a similar fashion, 2014 we issued loans to 50,000 people. So what I will do is, I will take 30,000 records out of the 50,000. So that means, what does it imply? For these 50,000 people, I know that who got good credit and bad credit. The class label is known to me. So the data set is having, what is training data set? I will tell you. That each record in the set will have a set of attributes, that is age, income, so and so, the whatever parameters you are taking, and one attribute that's called the class label. What is the last one you are giving? Good credit or bad credit? Because for the 50,000 people, you know they have good credit or bad credit. You have extracted through ETL process from the standard database using different rules. The warehouse is ready for the data. So what you will do is, you will segregate that. Out of this 50,000, you segregated 30,000 records, and you used those 30,000 records to build the rules which I said. Okay, a set of rules I said, no? Those for how we derived, we will see. How it has been derived, we will see. But you have used that set of information for process. Agree? Now, once you have used from those 30,000 records, you have found the rules. Then for the remaining 20,000 set, you know that what is the class label, but you pretend that you do not know the class label. So using your rules which you have derived from the 30,000 records, you will apply it to the remaining 20,000 records. Got my point? You will apply it to the remaining 20,000 records. Once you apply that to these 20,000 records, okay, you will see, as per the rules you will classify. Then after that, you know the exact class labels of this. So you will compare out of 30,000 records, how many are correct. Do you agree with me? And if it is correct to a permissible level, then you declare that yes, this is a good number. But what is the difference between your software testing and this testing? In your software testing, for results processing, no individual record should go wrong. Please remember. Because that is online processing, because even the software gives error for even a single student, you can't accommodate that, right? Suppose there are 10,000 students in the university. Okay, for 99,900 people, 9,999 people have given correct results, only one fellow I have added 20 marks. People will not allow it, right? So there you need exactness. But here, this is an analysis. This is an analysis. Now in this analysis, for all the 20,000 rows, you need not get the class label matching accurate. Because what is this? This is a kind of prediction. It's not the exact, it is a prediction. Okay. So out of 20,000, based on the importance of the logic, you will permit 90% accuracy is needed for me, or 80% accuracy is sufficient for this. So depending on the importance of that subject in the business, you will fix the accuracy level. Do you agree with me? Or have you understood? Based on the importance of that logic, you will fix up the accuracy. For certain decision making, you need to have minimum 90% accuracy. In certain cases, 80% accuracy. In some cases, 75%. Okay. It all depends on that specific business case and that specific subject, what kind of importance it has got in the decision making process. Based on these two parameters, okay, you will fix up the threshold accuracy. So your rules are well within the threshold accuracy. You will accept that process. Yes, these rules which I have derived are correct. How I have derived? I derived from decision tree, from this data on 50,000. Now, what I did on this 50,000, for deriving the rules, I used 30,000. For testing the accuracy, I used 20,000. So those 30,000 records I used for making the model. Those records, that data is called training data. That data is called the training data. And the 20,000 records which I have used for testing the model is called the testing. You have training data and testing. So you use the training data to arrive at the rules for the model. After getting the rules arrived, you will test. You will test it and you get the stuff. Okay? If it is good, then your classification is good. Once the classification is over, just simply classification rules will suffice. That should be augmented with prediction. The classification should be augmented with the prediction also. Okay? What is the prediction? That is, now the set of new applications, 1 lakh applications are there in the bank. Because you proved that this is accurately running. So you will apply those rules which you have derived on this 1 lakh data, and you will decide which fellow could have good credit and which fellow could have bad. So for those people who passed your test in this 1 lakh with good credit, you will sanction loans. If your model is good, fine. Otherwise, if you arrive at a wrong model, gone case, your bank will become bad. So that is how your classification and prediction work. Okay. Now what is this decision? I said we have arrived at the rule. Those rules are framed in this format. Then how to derive that tree is the concept of our classification. But decision tree is only one of the classification techniques. There is one more popular classification technique called nearest neighborhood. Nearest neighborhood technique means, of course, beyond your syllabus, you know, there is a saying for us. You tell me about your friends, I will tell you. I will tell about. Okay. The idea is all like-minded people live together. So that means you know the class label of nearing point, nearest neighbor point. You do not know the class label of this. So you can say that this belongs to the same class. That is, like suppose if I ask you, where do you live? You say that I live in Bangalore. I have my own. You have your own house. Okay. Then suppose I ask you, where do you live? I live in. Okay, then you are an employee. Probably you are a government. Where do you live? I live in MIG, State Bank. So probably your father or you are a middle level employee. So, right? So your vicinity, your neighborhood depends. Here also, you know the class level of some 10 points. You do not know the label of that point. So you say that whatever is the class of nearest point, this also can belong to that class, like U class. That is one way of class. Decision tree is one way of class. So your decision tree is only one classification. One. Then I am saying classification followed by prediction. So what is that you are predicting here in the prediction? Good. You are predicting the class label. In this case, you are predicting the class label. Then, what is that you are doing in regression? What for you are using regression? Huh? Regression. What for you are using? Okay, that relation you are drawing, but what for finally? Right, in regression, what is that you are doing? And what for you are doing? Huh? What is it you are doing? You studied regression, you studied least squares and by fitting a curve, you are right. The thing is, in regression, what is that you are doing? You have made an experiment. You have set of results, tabulate. Okay. Then, using these tabulated values, you are fitting some function, whether it is a linear function or a quadratic function or a cubic function or whatever it is, polynomial or a straight line or whatever it is, or a ellipse or something. Some curve you are fitting, and then you are predicting the values that are beyond the values given. Because when you made an experiment between 1 and 20, you had some 200 points, ranging x ranging from 1 to 20. You had 200 points. So using those 200 points, you are finding out the equation of the curve. Then what could be the value of y if x is equal to 22r? You are able to tell from this curve, right? So that means you are also using it for prediction. But here also you are using decision tree for prediction. Then what is the difference between these two predictions? What is the difference between these two predictions? Because unless these concepts are very clear to you and terminology is clear, you can't understand. Okay, then now then the regression. As the way of approach is concerned, in your decision tree, this data also. Okay, there you have x and y, but there also you can have multivariate point. There is a single dimension point, right? X is only single dimension point, y is single dimension point. But here you are having multiple points, of course. But finally, class label is the one you have to predict. What is the difference? Here also you are predicting, there also you are predicting. Because here also have some 50,000 records. Using that I arrived at some model. Then I am using it for classifying some other records beyond that. In regression also I have the values between 1 and 20, and beyond that for a new value 22 I am finding out. So what is the difference between? So think that they are multi-dimensional points. Okay, for simplicity sake, you are doing. What is that here? See, the difference is you have multiple attributes and class label is there. You are predicting class. See, here this class labeling, these are categorical variables. Whereas in your regression, you are predicting the numerical variable. Here also in decision tree, we have categorical labels as well as categorical attributes as well as numerical attributes. And the one you are predicting is a categorical, not the numerical. Because you said class name. Okay. But in regression, can you plot X, Y and all those things? They are all categorical. So your regression deals with the numerical. Okay, I will tell you, I am coming to that point. So, to understand this, I need to tell you about the variable class. One way of classification. We have the attributes like categorical variables in the sense they just get the name of a group. That is medium, low, high income group. They are generally categorical. And income 80,000. Okay. That is how your broader classification. Again, the variables are classified as nominal, ordinal, okay, interval based, ratio. In 4 ways they can. Nominal means just that denotes the labeling. If I simply say roll number, it's a label. It's only called nominal. Street name, it's a label. Okay. Because street 1 is not greater than street 2 or street 4 is less than something. That's not. I say subject. Data mine, Dbms, network. These are all labels. Because you don't have that networks is greater than data mine or less than computer automation. You don't have it. It is a label that identifies the some unique point or unique entity. Then that's called a nominal. Then what is an ordinal? Ordinal variable means that variable is nominal, but there the order also matters. That is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, low, medium, high. There, apart from the category, the order also matters. So such variables are called ordinal. Okay. Then interval variables means you have days. date. That is, today is 8. After that, 1920. So January 10th to February 10th. You can see the difference. Okay. So you can add and you can subtract, you feel the difference. Okay. So that is one category of variable. But you can define date into some date by date. That's not possible. Right. So these are called interval based variables. So plus and minus are possible. There in ordinal variable, less than or greater than is possible. There you don't have plus minus is not. You don't have Sunday minus Sunday or Friday minus Wednesday. That's possible. Just is an ordinal. Whereas in dates, 15 minus 10 is possible. But 15 divided by 10 is not. It's not mean. And ratio things means all our basics available. So addition, subtraction, division, all kinds of things are possible. So they are the end of things. Tomorrow I will give the classification. I think that is there in one page that I will. Broadly, this is how you categorize the variable. Nominal, ordinal, interval based and ratio. These are the 4 types. Now your decision tree will work for nominal. And for ordinal variables, you may ask what about the ordinal? Here it considers the ordinal variables also like nominal variables. So in its design, no importance is given for ordinal. So if your ordinal data has got some influence on the classification, so that influence will not be reflecting in your. That's what I will talk to you. First of all, if I talk about the tree, then later if I talk about this, that will be better. So I'll just cut short. So now to look at each record contains a set of attributes, one of which is class. And you find a model for class attribute as a function of the values of other attributes. So that means you will find out a model, that means a set of rules for a class attribute. That means to arrive at this class attribute, these are the rules. To arrive at this class, these are the rules. Right, you will arrive at. What is the goal? Previously unseen records should be assigned a class as accurately as possible is the goal of your class. Do you agree? Because that's what I spoke to you. A test set is used to determine the accuracy of the model. Usually the given data set is divided into training and test sets. With the training set, use it to build the model, and test set is used to evaluate. Got my point? So that is how the thing is. Next lecture. So we are just illustrating the classes. So your data is being segregated as training set and test set. Magnify change. Of course, he has not given the attribute names. He said attribute 1, 2, 3 only. 3 attributes are taken. And the class label. Some attribute 1 value is S. This is large. This is 125K. Class label is no. No medium 100K. No. No small 70K. Yes medium 120K. No. Okay. So he has taken some 3 parameters for finding out the thing. And the class label here is just simply yes or no. That is training. And test set is no small thing. See, the class label is just with a question. Class label is with a question mark. You don't do that. Tell me the test set, training set and test set. Okay. So how this is being done? This is the induction part. You will be learning the model. This is the learning algorithm. For learning algorithm, input is this. Or English input. So the learning algorithm applies. So the learning model is prepared here. So from this the model is applied. You apply the model and deduce the results. That is the class. Understand? How the classification works is, so you know, in fact, class labels for these things also, but you pretend as if you do not know the class labels for them. So you have 15 records. You are using 10 records for training and arriving at a learning algorithm using this. The learning algorithm is decision tree algorithm. For the decision tree algorithm, use this as an input, cook both the things and prepare the rest of the learning model. So that is the final model. You serve it. Using this model, you apply this model here and classify it. That's it. And if the accuracy is within permissible limits, then accept that model. Otherwise, don't accept. That is how the illustration and classification are. Thank you. Please. You mean to say which records are training and which records are testing, or arriving at the model? What is your question? No, actually you cannot know like that. Your training and test data are randomly chosen. You don't have any methodology to select that these are good things, you get a good model and all. That is not possible. Okay, so it is purely flipping. It is purely random. Okay, so that means depending on the test data and training data you use, your model will differ. The decision tree you arrive at is not new, but then deriving different decision trees and finding out which is the best is a prohibitively expensive. So hence, because I told you, I gave you an example previously. That is, there are two kinds of business. You prepare a very good item with all 99.99% quality material with very by very skilled labor and very high and sophisticated machine. You prepare, you manufacture an item, sell it for $100, but only 100 people buy it. Okay, sell it for $100. Your profit is 30 rupees on that, no issue. Still 100 people buy it. What is going to be your net profit? What is going to be your net profit? 3,000. 30 into 100. Let us suppose you buy a product, you manufacture a product. It's not very accurate. Okay. your production cost was around 60 rupees or 70 rupees. You produce the item for 20 rupees, sell it for 30 rupees. Your production cost is 20, sell it for 30, profit margin is 10 bucks, but you are selling the product for 30 rupees and 1,000 people purchase. What is your profit? 10,000. Whereas in previous case it is 3,000. So ultimately, which is more profitable to you business wise? Second one is. So that means you have to compromise on the quality sometimes. Because here also in this case, any of these determining algorithms, you have two parameters. One is accuracy, second is computation. Okay, if you want something in a very, very accurate way, they all will be exponential order algorithms and prohibitively expensive. Okay. You can give correct results. I tell you, the Walmart is there, their sales is there. And if you consider, if you want to find out the daily summary of Walmart results today, it produces around 2 petabytes of data. All summary values. It takes, with the existing machinery and all, it takes 22 days for finding out daily summary. You give it to per process. Okay, it gives very accurately on high speed machines, but 22 days. But still you can't compromise on the quality. So you will go for a distributed processing. So you have to find, but here data mining things, they are only some kind of statistical prediction. Okay. So for this, if you compromise, undoubtedly there is a reduction in the compromise, but still you will get some viable solution, like producing a low cost. So that is the Chinese strategy. They produce mass goods with some compromised quality, but for a considerably low price. Now what people see, the China mobile people, oh, what is that, the Samsung one that is being sold for 30,000 is available in 3,000. Everything looking like, we'll buy. If it is not good, we'll throw it after 1 year or 7 months. Not an issue, but I have got a very lucrative, good looking model. Okay, radiation is more, don't do. We'll have some device for controlling the radiation. Let us buy this, why to spend 30,000? Because many people cannot afford a 30,000 mobile, right? How many can afford it? Maybe few, but not all. So that's one kind of strategy. So here also, the execution time and the accuracy of the model, you have to strike a compromise. So your research or your innovation lies in fixing up a reasonably good model that is workable, that is scalable. You know the meaning of the term scalability? Did I define you what is meant by scalability? Scalability అంటే చెప్పాను మీకు అలా తలమొహాలు ఇస్తారు చెప్పాను. అదే మాట్లాడండి. మీరు నీరసంగా పడిపోతే అలాగే హాయిగా చక్కగా సీట్లో కూర్చున్నారు, నేను ఇంకా నిల్చున్నా 2 గంటల నుంచి బాగుతున్నాను కంటిన్యూస్. నీరసం నీకు రావాలా నాకు రావాలా? So, what is scalability? Scalability in the sense, suppose you develop a program. Suppose you know the sorting, bubble sorting. So for 100 elements, bubble sort will be taken array. 1000 elements per 10,000 might work. But you have 5 lakhs. Can you use bubble sort using an array? So that means the algorithm that is working for one quantity of data, it is not workable for a high quantity of data. Okay. Suppose my program is working for 5 lakhs also it is working, for 10 lakhs also it is working. Suppose what you will do, if you have 1,000,000 records, what you will do? You will perform external sorting, right? You keep the stuff on disk and so on. So if you use that kind of algorithm, that is workable for 510 records, 50 records, 100 records, and for 1,000,000 records. So if your algorithm works for even the low-end data, even for the very high-end data, for both big and small data, your algorithm works, then it is said that it is scalable. Right? What right? Good. Pardon me? That's what I mean to say. If it works for very high data also, you say that it's scalable. So scalability is one important definition also. Because these terms people quite often use, and suppose at one stage you do not know that, if you just accept that word as it is, at some point of time you will end up with confusion, because they will use that word for some context. Then you will not understand the context, and you will not understand the concept of it. So certain points you should, otherwise you Google it and find out the meaning. Because some points appear to be very simple. Pardon me. Robustness means, I think I'm going to do that. Robustness is something related to the boundary conditions, and that means if any some erroneous things are there, if your algorithm could correct and sustain, we say that it is robust. That is robust. Okay. It should be resilient to errors. You should have more number of validations to consider certain complex cases, then it will be robust. Whereas your scalability is, it should work for low volume of data, it should work for high volume of data. Because the data structure you use decides the scalability of it. That's what. Robustness means how perfectly you design the model to cover all the cases. That belongs to robust. Okay. Right? So thank you very much, and we will stop here. So tomorrow we have the class from 2 to 3. Because yesterday's class is being compensated tomorrow. Thank you very much.